Welcome to the B.F. Anderson Technical Report for February the 20th. You know, when we make an investment decision, or when you make an investment decision, think about it this way. Divide it up into three components. In fact, there's an acronym. We use the word SNAK, S-N-K. SNAK means story, numbers, and chart, and C, excuse me. The story is important. What the main point of the story is to determine who is the management of the company. The main thing we look for is we want to see the founders of the company, such as a Steve Jobs or an Elon Musk or a Sam Walton, still in the leading position at the corporation. The numbers are quite simple. We want to look for numbers that tell us that we can potentially double our money in an investment within a 5-year period, or some reasonable period of time. So what you want to look at there is, what is the growth rate in the earnings? What have they been? What are they projected to be? You want to look for at least 15%. The other thing, too, would be the market capitalization. You don't want to see companies, you know, a $1 trillion company or a $1.4 trillion company like Apple becoming a $2.8 trillion company. Never happened before. But if you find a company, let's say, that's, you know, 10 billion, can it become 20 billion? Well, it pretty much happens all the time. So on the chart, let's get into the charts. Now, the first thing about the charts is you want to make sure you're in a healthy uptrending market. And that's exactly what we have right now. Here's the NASDAQ, the daily graph. You see this is the 25-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, very consistent, very positive, index making new highs. Now, if we look at it on a weekly basis, pretty much the same story, but we're only looking at one moving average, which is the 35-week moving average. That is in a strong uptrend. The index itself is in a strong uptrend. This is a bull market. Now, as we look at what we call the aggression index, how aggressive are investors being? Because if they're buying things like Coca-Cola and Procter & Gamble and Clorox and Campbell Soup, they're not very aggressive. But if they're buying technology stocks, they're aggressive. So we're comparing NASDAQ to the consumer staple stocks. You can see the index is really looking good. New high on the index since this last period. Now realize we went through a very difficult period here for growth stocks for about 18 months. Now we're in an uptrend. The moving averages are doing the right things. The aggression index looks very positive. Now, as we move to another technical indicator, now we're going to talk a little bit about this indicator. This is called the MACD, M-A-C-D, which means moving average convergence divergence. Now, what that's all about is that when your short-term moving averages are basically moving up faster than the long-term moving averages, you get what we call momentum. So you can see here where this index, meaning the S&P 500, last year, you know, around 2018, went into some negative momentum, came out of the negative momentum, got positive momentum, looks very positive. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about this. Now, here's the same indicator, the MACD, for the Value Line Geometric Index, unique index. It's not market cap weighted. It is equally weighted. It has been lagging the overall markets, but there's a reason for that. However, the wording on that would be, when the generals lead, the troops follow. This is the troops. And so they're starting to follow, because you can see here the MACD is actually turning positive. Now, on the global stocks, as we know, Europe has been slow, Asia's been slowing down. However, we're seeing the market, the global Dow, which is an indicator of the international markets, is starting to show some improvement. Got a nice cup here, maybe form a little handle and then break out. Hard to say, but we've got good momentum, a shift in momentum. Here is China. This is the Golden Dragon, which is every stock that trades in the United States that's from China. So we can see here, big bear market here, coming out of it, and momentum is improving, actually on a buy signal. Keep your eye on China. Small cap stocks, same old story there. We're seeing they're lagging, they're not outperforming, not making new highs like everything else. But then again, these are the troops. Will they follow? Well, we'll just have to see. Now, on sentiment, this is the put-call ratio. Started to see a little bit of fear come in here over the last week. Now we're getting some greed. Sentiment is negative, but it's a secondary indicator, because the problem with sentiment is how hot is hot, how cold is cold. In other words, markets get hot like they are now. Well, they can stay hot for 5 years, or they might stay cold for 5 years. You just don't know. But it's a thing to keep an eye on. Now, let's talk about the MACD. This is the little bit of a lesson here on the indicator. As you can see here, and I've shortened the time horizon here, this is the S&P 500. As you can see, in a very positive uptrend, no problem. But we got a MACD buy signal here where you get a crossing of the MACD indicator. Now you can also see here on the histogram, also an uptrend. So let's look at some other examples just to kind of get a feel for this. Now, here we have the year of 2000, which was the dot-com bust. You can clearly see the MACD crossing, giving a negative, what we call a death cross, going into a terrible downturn. You can see that the momentum started waning and the histogram going down. So if we just jump back one more time to the prior graph, and bear with me here, the prior graph shows the MACD as we are today, which is, you can see, not anything like what we saw back in 2000. So in other words, this is a bear market, continues to look good. Let's look at one more example just for the heck of it. Here is a year that we all remember, 2007, 2008. This was the mortgage bust. You can see where we got the bearish cross on the MACD, downtrending lines. You can see what the market did, horrible. So what I'm saying is, if you use MACD, main thing to remember is use it on a monthly basis. It's a monthly reading that gives you the truest readings. And it's basically saying that we are in a bull market right now, and we don't look anything like past bear markets at this point. Now, I just wanted to show a few more examples of just two more things, downtrends and uptrends. This is Ford Motor Car Company. You can see that stock is in a serious downtrend. Maybe it has something to do with Tesla and electric cars. We're not sure. This is General Motors. Same basic story. Now, if we move to an uptrend, just to kind of see where that goes, this is the VanEck Vector Semiconductor ETF, which is semiconductors. We've been talking about semiconductors every week. Very nice uptrend. This is what you want. This is an example of a semiconductor called Advanced Micro Devices, which is one of the strongest stocks this year. Look at that beautiful uptrend and that major breakout. It's just telling you that technology is here to stay, that things are going to continue. So speaking of that, let's go to the top 5. The top 5 this week, we start out with Advanced Micro Devices. Stock hitting new highs. It's holding that, it came down below this 10-day moving average, consolidated, and is breaking out again. Here we have a biotech stock, company called Axon Therapeutics. We got a nice rally in the stock. We're getting a lot of consolidation here. Look for a breakout. Here is Cardlytics. This is another technology stock that has to do with the internet and the evaluation of credit cards. Gap up buy signal right here, continuing to hold that 10-day, breaking out, making a new high. This is DocuSign. This is a company that really gives you a shortcut on signing documents, things like mortgage agreements, things like legal documents. So you can see here, very, very strong uptrend. We do own this stock. Tesla, as we all know about Tesla, it is the electric car company that we think has got a big, big future. You got a major gap up buy signal back here. This is where we first started looking at this stock and actually buying the stock. We do own the stock. Now realize what this is. You're getting a big spike in volume, a breakout above a base. It's telling you that something new, something different is going on. And then the stock's been in a super duper uptrend ever since, holding above that 10-day moving average. So all in all, everything looks good. This is a bull market. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.